The middle path. We are so far from it as a species, and we are clinging to the extremes, and things seem to just be accelerating. So today we're going to talk a little bit about the middle path, and we're going to talk about how debate is dead and rhetoric has been trampled in our quest for the extreme. I'm the Desert Viking, and let's get at it. It can be very difficult. It's difficult for most people, period, today. Let me be honest. But as someone trying to build instead of destroy, it's very difficult to coexist, be around a world where everyone seems to actively be after each other's throat, trying to kill them. I did this video a couple days ago, and during the upload, I canceled it. I wasn't super happy with how it came out, and we'll try it again. I can't promise that I won't get somewhat emotional, but it is an emotional topic, and yeah, we'll just go from there, right? So the image I have up. This is something that one of the things I'm studying is actually it's a scholarly take on the book of Revelations and what it could mean. So I will caveat with, this is just what I've read, and these things kind of sound right to me, but no one knows what the book of Revelations means. So if you read anyone telling you that this is what it means, period, right, we've had the grifter talk before. No one can know right now, in my opinion, what it means. There's a lot of symbolism. However, now, the book of Revelations talks about a big dragon being cast into the abyss. Like, that's the first big monster. And it essentially splits into two demonic monsters, a two-horned beast and then a seven-headed, ten-horned beast. Now, Dr. Rudolf Steiner posited on the concept of Lucifer and Ahriman, and I've done videos on Lucifer and Ahriman before to kind of discuss what those entities were to him. To many people in the esoteric community, Steiner was what they called a cosmic Christ or a guru, right? He's one of those once-in-a-century scholars that appears and seems to be touched by knowledge and shares that. And of course, theologians and whatnot will dismiss him as a false prophet, etc., and we know the drill. Obviously, I don't know. I don't claim to be the arbiter of truth. I will always say that I don't claim to be the arbiter of truth. But a lot of what he says resonates with me, and so I'm bringing it here to you for your own consideration. But I'm also leaving the reference so you can look his work up on your own, and I'm not trying to pass this off as my own vision or whatever, because that's disingenuous. Anyhow, with that disclaimer being said, anyone who's into Kabbalah or Freemasonry or whatever, initiatic orders, you should be familiar with the two pillars, right? We're all familiar with the two pillars. They have names in Freemasonry. The names that they represent all coincide with the Kabbalah. So for those who say there's no Kabbalistic references in Freemasonic ritual, sorry, you are not correct. And I can say that one with 100% certainty. That's not just me disagreeing. You are 100% incorrect. So here in the image, I have the black pillar and the white pillar and the Masonic tiled floor, which is the black and white checkered floor. The black and white represents the extremes, right? Extreme black and extreme white. Those are the two polar opposites, because one of the Hermetic axioms is the law of polarity, which means for any given thing, you have two extremes, and there's a gradient in the middle. I try to follow what I call the gray path. That is, I try not to adhere to an extreme. I try not to adhere to an extreme. And we're all humans, and being humans, we have the ability to fall, and we do many times. Ahriman sits over on that black pillar, and Ahriman is concerned primarily with the material. So Ahriman wants you to care only about chasing status, wealth, hedonism, having sex, going up the corporate ladder, all those things, like buying things for the sake of things, having nice cars, having a boat, having a mansion. That's all Ahrimanic influence. And not all of that is evil. It's not evil to want to have nice things. In my opinion, the evil comes with how the world is today, where it's at the expense of humanity. That we do these things at the expense of other people. And we go, get good. That's Ahrimanic influence. And one of the legends, I guess, talking about the funny mustache guy from Austria, he, per one legend anyway, they had the Yahtzee occult center, whatever it's called. It's the group that he put together, the funny Charlie Chaplin looking dude who controlled the Yahtzees, had that occult organization. And he had pulled in some famous figures, allegedly even like Aleister Crowley and the OTO pledged themselves to this. And he had attempted to enlist in Tibet. There were two camps. There was an Ahrimanic camp and a Luciferian camp. And the Ahrimanic camp denied him. They said, no, we're already working with the UK and the US. But he was able to enlist the Luciferic camp. And there was allegedly all kinds of horrible demonic things that they did. Of course, we know the murders and the atrocities that they committed. So Ahriman has already, according to that legend anyhow, been steeped in the West culture since the beginning of the 20th century at least. On the white pillar you have the seven-headed, ten-horned beast of Revelations. Sorry, and Ahriman is the two-horned beast from Revelations. The dragon split into two in the book of Revelations, and these are the two forces that are equally evil, that they're both fighting mankind, right? And so Lucifer is the seven-headed, ten-horned beast, and he is on the white pillar over there. Luciferic energy is spiritual, and Luciferic energy wants you to disavow the world. It wants you to leave the world, live in this world of illusion and self-grandeur and ego, basically. Those are the two forces that are allegedly combating mankind right now, and that the book of Revelations has been an ongoing thing. They call what we currently live in today as the apocalyptic age, that began with the dropping of the atomic bomb in Japan. That unleashed the pale horseman, death. That was the last of the four horsemen to appear. And so we are allegedly living in the apocalyptic times. I keep trying to use apostolic, the apostles. My bad. The words. I can't do the words today. Anyhow, so I had an image in my head of what that might look like, and I had AI whip me up what that might look like. So there's a visual representation of trying to walk that middle pillar, right between the two pillars. There's the middle pillar, the path the pillar of beauty, and that leads to the ascension back to the divine. That's what a lot of esotericism teaches. You can see that those pillars are guarded by two demonic entities that keep us distracted and actively seek to destroy us, to keep us imprisoned. I feel that daily. I feel that power daily. I have felt that all my life, and I was part of that loop for a long, long time. So that's why I'm sharing that with you in this image. Now that image correlates to the main topic I want to get into. And the main topic I want to get into, last week was a heavy week for everybody, but it was also a heavy week for me in addition to. And so we're going to talk about there were 3 events that occurred that I want to talk about. The last, of course, being the murder of Charlie Kirk for his political ideologies and views. So last week, a couple weeks, we had a couple events happen in our Discord where we debate a lot. And in fact, that's why it was created. One of the reasons why it was created was to be able to have these types of talks. Because philosophical conversations are very difficult to have. Most people don't want to have anything to do with them. The problem is, well, number one, text removes voice. It removes facial expressions. It removes behavior. So you have no context to the text itself. And we seem to be a pessimistic people where we apply the most aggressive, assholish tone of voice to someone disagreeing to us as we can, which makes us mad and we get emotional because we have inferred that the person disagreeing with us via text is taking on a haughty, arrogant, comic book guy type voice, calling us dumb or whatever. You can't have philosophical debates without disagreement. If you have philosophical debates without disagreement, we call that an echo chamber. We call that a safe place. Those have no room in my life, anyway, because there's no way to grow from those. There's no way to get multiple perspectives if you can't disagree. Now, that doesn't mean you get to be an asshole. You should never resort to ad hominem attacks, which if you're not familiar with what that means instead of debating the words, the actual words being used, you're attacking the person's character. For example, we see this a lot today. All you have to do is go to Reddit or Twitter or X or whatever it's called now. You'll find this within 5 seconds of logging on. You will find one of these. If I am a conservative, and again, for the record, I am on neither party. I am center right. Right. I have been pushed more to the right by the last 5 years, but I'm not extreme right by any means. I still have leftist ideologies. Some I try to take both perspectives in. But anyway, let's pretend I'm a conservative. Well, hell, I can just be me. I'm in the center. I'm, as Aaron Clary likes to say, I'm right of Stalin, so therefore I am Yahtzee to a lot of these people. It's true. If I say something, I can say, I don't agree with DEI. Right? Let's say I say that. I don't agree with DEI because things should be based off merit. You should be hiring the best people for the job, not caring about what color they are, what their gender is, etc. The response coming back will immediately be that I'm racist, white supremacist. You can't have that. That's not a debate. There's no, and they don't want to debate. That's the problem. You're a racist white supremacist. The only reason you're complaining is because you hate those people and you don't want to see them work, or you don't want them to get a job, or you've enjoyed being able to work so long. This is our way of forcing reparations on you. Since you won't pay reparations, the government won't pay reparations, this is what we're going to do to force reparations. We're going to remove your ability to work and replace you with them so that the scales of justice have now been evened. And I'm not blabbering hyperbole. I've heard that many times in Reddit, in X, on Facebook, on TikTok. I've heard those words or similar words being said. Okay, that's an ad hominem attack. You're attacking the character of the person, not the actual words that they're saying, which typically have no basis in the debate anyway. We can't. You just can't do that. And if someone does that, they're not worth talking to at that point, because they're not interested in a debate. They're interested in winning, which is why we're in where we're at right now. And yes, both sides do it. Both sides are guilty. So you can't do that. You can't. What you should also avoid in debates is saying you're wrong. because that's an aggressive way of communicating. I typically will say I disagree, and then I will give the reasons why. I almost never disagree with someone without giving my reasons why. I don't just say I disagree because feelings. And maybe they're based on feelings. I will try to explain those feelings. And because of that, there have been a lot of times when I have disagreed with someone and they have countered with their why they disagree, and I was like, oh, I never considered that perspective before. And that's the whole point of debate. And so again, if you're, we can't be on this default setting where if I disagree with you, you take a personal offense to that, or you're aggrieved by that. You can't do that. We're looking so hard to have our echo chambers that it's destructive. You can't do that. Anytime someone disagrees, we put those people in the others box. Oh, they disagreed with me. That must mean they're the other. And the other is not a human being. The other is dehumanized. The other is a demon. And we need to wipe from the face of the earth. Again, I'm not being hyperbolic after what happened last week. That's where we've gotten to. And it's extraordinarily dangerous. Disagreements are not personal offenses. The next thing that happens a lot with disagreements is this. This is another thing that drives me so crazy. It's the blowed up rhetoric. If I say, I use the DEI example. I'm against DEI. Well, that means you're a racist Yahtzee. You're a fascist. Being against DEI because I think that the best people should be hired does not make me a white supremacist. It has nothing to do with white supremacy. But that's the automatic flow to these days, right? And that's just one thing. Saying I disagree, I know these are hot topics and people are going to get angry. I'm just using these topics because they're the ones that are done all the time. J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling agrees with 99% of the left on pretty much everything. She's a feminist. She is super liberal. But because she disagrees with that one thing, she doesn't believe that transgender people should be in sports or in locker rooms with other women. It's not to her, right? That she's against that. Because of that one thing, she's a white, they've called her a white supremacist, but they've called her a transphobe. And then they say that she wants to see that whole community wiped out and killed. I have never read anything that said that from her in my life, and I've looked. But I hear it every day. Oh, she wants them all wiped out off the face of the earth. She's putting their lives in danger. This is amped up hyperbolic rhetoric. It's designed to elicit a maximum emotional response. Says they don't agree with what I want, therefore they want me to die. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't people that actively want that. There are, and those people are disgusting, and they're demons. Anyone calling for the death of anyone over a disagreement is a demon, in my opinion. But not agreeing with something, saying, you shouldn't be able to do this because this is not safe, because these things can happen, and then you saying, well, that equates to you wanting me to die, is ridiculous. It's absurd. It's clown world. But you can't debate that, right? You can't debate that. And that's where we are. Disagreements are now, you want me to die. And it starts with us individuals. You have to do better. Disagreeing with, I see this one a lot. So there's this thing in gyms where women like to video themselves for attention. And if a guy looks at them in the camera, they make him famous on TikTok. They look at this creep. And if you talk against that, you're a misogynist. You hate women. Like, what? I don't want to be in your video. And if you're in a public space, people are going to look at you. But we've gotten to the point where you can't even look at people. Oh, that's assault. You looked at me. That's assault. I don't like you. I don't want you looking at me. That's assault. And there's a couple people I follow that they put those people on blast, and yeah, they get drilled with the misogyny tagline all the time. Well, if you're going to video in public, then you're going to get people looking at you. Like if I'm trying to do a workout and you've got like 4 tripods set up and you're doing workouts and you're in a bikini, yeah, guys are going to look at you. Like, what'd you expect? Did you expect them not to look at you? Also, all they're doing is looking at you, but then you're trying to call them out for attention, and that's not good. Like those are examples. Those are examples to me of things that should stop. And they're blowing up. They're blowing up things. They're making it out to be this misogyny, racism, all these words, and it has nothing to do with any of that stuff. It's I disagree. Don't do that. I don't like you videoing me. Those things need squashed. And again, it starts with us. So disagreements, the whole point of that long spiel. Disagreements don't mean I hate you. Disagreements don't mean that I don't like you. It's not a personal offense. You shouldn't come off as an asshole when you disagree with someone. You should not attack someone for disagreeing with, but you can say I disagree and someone not get butthurt about that, in my opinion. All right, that's where I'm coming at with this pointer. Otherwise, there's no point in debate. There's no point if you just want me to agree with you. You can just say I disagree. Oh, cool. I disagree. Cool. And we go on with our lives. Number 2, the second thing that happened last week that really bothered me. I'm in a few different orders. Most of them are like scholarly. I study a lot, and it's what I enjoy. Well, there was one, and this is related. These are all of these relate to the same issue. Something happened. Something came up. They were promoting something that I disagreed with. I'm not going to get into what it was and who it was because I'm not trying to call anything out. But I'm just going to say what the subject was. The subject was a book that had been debunked decades ago. When I say decades ago, I mean like in the 30s and 40s, debunked as a scam. And they were promoting this material. And I said, I have issues with this. I'd like to talk to someone about this. I'd like to know what I am missing. What am I missing that may change my mind? You're promoting this, so tell me why you don't believe this is a scam. And I got a response saying, this is not up for debate. Keep your negative comments to yourself. This is supposed to be a scholarly group, mind you. You're supposed to ask questions. That's the whole point. I have very few hard boundaries in my life. One of the hard boundaries I have in my life is if you're okay with the death of someone who disagrees with you. That's a hard no. Another one is being told, and I'm going to be crass here, to shut the fuck up when I have questions. I am one of those people that have lots of questions because I'm trying to understand and learn. I don't follow. I am not a follower. I would make a very poor cultist because I would... You got to tell me why, right? I'm not going to just believe it because you told me. I grew up, we were Catholic, and there were things that didn't make sense to even 12-year-old me. One of the questions I used to ask about was like, we talk about archangels and all this, and I was like, well, where are those written? And the nuns would tell me to stop asking stupid questions. Like that, stop asking those stupid questions. And my family converted to evangelical Pentecostals, which I really disagreed with. Largely because of just personality clash. I'm not a loud, boisterous, dance in the aisles, speaking weird language type of guy. I'm live or let live. Hey, you want to do that? I don't care. That's fine. They do it. Great. If they're finding meaning and joy in their life from this and bringing them closer to God that way, I am all for it. Always been. That's great. It's not for me. But some of the things that when I was growing up were said to me were just plain foolishness. We were told we were going to get mansions in heaven. All we had to do, we were really, because we were really poor, like welfare poor. All we had to do was stay being poor and giving our money to the church, and we would have a mansion in heaven. I was like, that doesn't make sense. Jesus didn't seem to me like a type of entity that would care about mansions, or his followers would care about mansions. That's just one of many different things that they just said stuff. Everything was the devil's fault, Satan keeping them down. I'm like, well, that seems kind of weird. If I was Satan, I'd be trying to tempt you into doing things, not punish you. But anyhow, I kept being told this is not up for debate. Like, this is not up for debate is a phrase that is a trigger for me. You don't tell me that, because that's an authoritarian response. That is I don't have the answers to your questions, and instead of telling you that, I'm just going to tell you to shut the fuck up and just do what I tell you. Do it as I say. I have the authority. And the person even saying this, I don't know what their authority is in that group. It's certainly, to me, they don't. I don't know what their authority is. I'll just say that. But they told me that, and I have big problems with that, because again, that comes back to, I'm not debating this. I'm not gonna answer your questions. You're just going to do what I tell you. That's a cultist mindset, and I firmly am against that. And I see that with the politics as well. You see it all the time. Both sides. Whatever my media outlet tells me is true. Whatever your media outlet tells me is obviously propaganda and fake news. How fucking absurd is that statement? But it is in action and in play every 5 minutes if you pay attention. So, I would say if you're in a scholarly order and they tell you to shut the fuck up, you should definitely ask questions about why that is. And I did, and I believe it's been taken care of, so that's good. But you should never, anyone coming at you from an authoritative stance needs to get out. Just, they don't belong in that position. That is not, unless you're in the military and people's lives are on the line, okay? If people's lives are on the line and you're in the military, yeah, now's not the time to debate these things. But if you're talking about scholarly works or whatever, or philosophical ideas, oh, my dude. No. And the last thing, number 3, I've ramped it up by order of importance, of course, is the shooting of Charlie Kirk and his murder last Wednesday. Now, I did not follow him. Like, it wasn't anyone that I had to watch. I've seen some of his things. So I'm not MAGA. I'm not an ultra conservative. But I am 1,000% against the murder of someone for having opposing ideological viewpoints. And there were a lot of demons running around. And there still are today. And I made that very clear on Wednesday. I will not tolerate. And I got a bunch of blowback from people. I had one guy who I've known for a while call me dumb. And he said basically he deserved to die because of all the evil things he said. And as proof of all the evil things he said, he screenshot a tweet from a leftist saying that he had done all these evil things. That was his proof. That's like me proving that Ben Shapiro or Trump or whoever didn't say anything by screenshotting Fox News and sending it to the guy. Do you think he would have accepted that? No. No, that's not proof. Copy pasting. It's so ridiculous when I think about it. Copy pasting what someone in your echo chamber said is not proof. And I've seen, so Stephen King, he was out, I don't know, like Thursday or whatever, saying he does, Ben Shapiro basically deserved to be shot. I'm paraphrasing, okay? He may not have said those words, but he was justifying it by saying, he said all these hateful things. He said that the gays wanted to be stoned to death. And no, he didn't. He never said that. And someone posted proof, It was a debate about biblical language where Charlie Kirk is talking about Leviticus and he reads that part. But Charlie Kirk was very outward, and I've heard him because I found clips saying you can't do that in modern society, and he is all for, gay people can be gay people. Like, he didn't care. But you take these things out of context, as he read out of the book of Leviticus. Therefore, he wants gays to be stoned to death. That's evil. Like that, and it's intentional. Actually, maybe it's not intentional. I just think the IQ of the country has lowered so much that maybe people actually think that's true. If you read out of the book of Leviticus, you must therefore believe it. I can see that mindset. It's totally incompetence, but I can see that mindset. But it's not true. Anyhow, Stephen King was called to task, and he has issued a full apology. He said, "I should have researched better. I did my bad. I fully apologize. I need to do better," is basically what he said. So I give him props for that. I know people still bash his balls for daring to say anything, but at least he apologized. He admitted, I was wrong. That's where we've gotten. We've gotten now where we're killing people over ideological differences. He was against DEI, so therefore they say he's a racist and he wants black people to suffer. I've never heard him say anything like that. But because you're against DEI, therefore you're racist, therefore you must want black people to suffer. I know the people watching this video hopefully would be more of you think a little bit more before you knee-jerk react. So this means something to you. I know to the majority of people in my country, this is just, you're either going to support me because I'm against the killing of Charlie Kirk and you're a conservative, or you're a liberal and you're going to send me hate mail and want me to die because he was a vile individual who deserved death or whatever. None of those are true. I would be against any political figure being assassinated. I'm against the children being killed. I'm against all of everything today in this world. It drives me to a point where I don't know what to do, because it seems very futile. It seems like you're up against a hurricane. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the point of it is to be up against a hurricane. Maybe that is why we're here, to test our will against the hurricane. And so all I can do at that point for me personally is just to continue to walk the middle pillar as best as I can. I do wholly oppose the calling out and the celebration of the murder of anyone, and I will remove those individuals from my life. I have no use for you anymore, if that's what you're doing. So anyhow, I wanted to get all that off my chest. It's been a long week or two. Debate is dead. I don't know that it'll ever come back while we are in this comfortable stage. And I know people go, well, jobs are gone and it's not comfortable. It's still comfortable. You're still able to sit in air conditioning and run at the mouth on your keyboard at people and not worry about where you're going to eat. I think until things get worse, this is not going to change. And I did see last week as the crossing of the Rubicon. I do. And I've been called out for being stupid for thinking that because people have been being assassinated for years. But I think this was the final bit, so to speak, that shoved everything over. And it's terrifying to think of what comes next. I can't even begin to fathom. So, if you have any comments, please feel to leave them below. If you're, in an initiatic order, if you're Freemason, let me know how you're dealing with this. If you're on the Discord, of course, any conversations or topics discussing this are welcome. Please do. I appreciate very much the community that we've built and the discussions we have and the things that we can delve into. We're finishing up the cosmic doctrine. We're talking about the theology of arithmetic. We had a sound bath yesterday for the Collegia, for the Templars. All of these things I am so grateful for. and give thanks for, and on the people around me who can have those conversations. So thank you. And if you've tuned in, thank you for watching. Till next time, I'll talk to you soon.